Nosicelo Mtebeni was a name that carried the weight of dreams and the promise of a brighter future. She was a young woman from the Eastern Cape, a final-year law student at the University of Fort Hare. Her path was one of dedication and intellectual rigor, a journey that many admired. She was not just another student, she was a beacon of hope for her family and her community. Her ambition was a powerful force, driving her towards a career where she could challenge injustice and uphold the law. In a country where access to higher education is a hard-won battle, Nosicelo's presence in the esteemed halls of a university was a testament to her resilience and her formidable spirit. Born and raised in the small town of Mtebeni, Nosicelo's journey was shaped by the hopes of her family. They saw in her the potential to break cycles and build a new legacy. Her academic achievements were a source of immense pride, each success a step further away from the limitations that many young people in her region face. Her pursuit of a law degree was not merely a career choice, it was a calling. She envisioned a world where she could be a voice for the voiceless, an agent of change in a legal system that often fails the most vulnerable. She represented the aspirations of countless young South Africans who looked to education as their pathway to empowerment and a meaningful life. Her life at university was a vibrant tapestry of academic pursuits and social connections. She was known for her intelligence and her focused determination. Friends and lecturers saw a future legal mind of great caliber, someone who was destined for greatness. She was on the verge of completing her Bachelor of Laws degree, a significant milestone that would have opened countless doors. This final year was meant to be a culmination of years of hard work, a celebration of her perseverance. The future she was building was not just for herself, it was for her family and for the society she hoped to serve, making her story one of collective hope. The tragedy is that this future was stolen. Before she could walk across the graduation stage, before she could argue her first case in court, her life was cut short. The very promise she held became a source of profound national sorrow. The story of Nosicelo Mtebeni is not just about an individual loss. It is about the extinguishing of a bright light that was meant to illuminate the path for others. Her name is now etched in the painful history of South Africa's struggle with violence against women, a stark reminder of the potential that is violently taken from us, leaving a void that can never be filled. Behind the facade of a promising academic life, Nosicelo was navigating the treacherous terrain of a difficult relationship. She was living with her partner, Mtebeni, a man who would ultimately become the architect of her demise. Relationships are complex, often containing unseen struggles and silent battles. For Nosicelo, the space that should have been a sanctuary of love and support became a place of conflict and control. The dynamics of their partnership were fraught with challenges that slowly eroded her peace, creating an environment where her bright future was constantly under threat. This private war was invisible to many, yet it was escalating with devastating intensity. The narrative of intimate partner violence is often one of gradual escalation, of small acts of control that grow into larger patterns of abuse. Reports that emerged after her death painted a picture of a relationship marked by jealousy and possessiveness. These are the classic red flags, the warning signs that society too often ignores or misunderstands. The power imbalances that fuel gender-based violence were at play in her life, hidden away from the public eye. Nosicelo, a strong and intelligent woman, found herself trapped in a situation that countless women across the country face daily, a reality where the greatest danger often resides within their own homes. In August 2021, this private war reached its horrific conclusion. The events that unfolded in their shared residence in Quignay, East London, are a chilling testament to the brutality of gender-based violence. Following an argument, Mtebeni murdered Nosicelo. The act itself was one of extreme violence, but what followed was a calculated and gruesome attempt to conceal the crime. This was not a moment of passion, but a series of deliberate actions designed to erase a woman from existence. The sheer cruelty of the act speaks to a deep-seated pathology of rage and control, a mindset that views a woman's body as an object to be dominated and destroyed. The discovery was horrific. Nosicelo's dismembered remains were found stuffed into a suitcase and plastic bags, left on a pavement just a short distance from her home. The man responsible, Alutha Pasile, was swiftly arrested. He later confessed to the murder, detailing the argument over alleged infidelity that he claimed triggered his violent actions. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 25 years in prison for murder and an additional 10 years for attempting to defeat the ends of justice. His conviction brought legal closure, but it could not mend the profound wound inflicted upon Nosicelo's family, her community, and the soul of the nation. The news of Nosicelo Mtebeni's murder sent shockwaves not just through the community of East London but across the entire nation. The gruesome details of her death were a brutal awakening for many, a stark and undeniable illustration of the femicide crisis plaguing South Africa. The collective response was one of deep shock, profound grief, and searing anger. People could not comprehend how a young woman with so much potential could be so brutally murdered by the person who was supposed to love and protect her. Her story became a headline, a hashtag, and a rallying cry, resonating with a public that had become weary of the constant onslaught of violence against women. Her university, the University of Fort Hare, became a focal point for the mourning. Students and staff gathered for vigils, their candles flickering in the dark as they remembered a life filled with promise. The campus, once a place of learning and aspiration for Nosicelo, was transformed into a site of collective grief. The pain was palpable as her peers grappled with the loss of a friend and the terrifying reality that this could have happened to any one of them. The university's leadership spoke out, condemning the act and calling for greater action to protect female students, acknowledging that campuses are not immune to the societal sickness of gender-based violence. This was more than just another news story. It was a moment of national reckoning. The term gender-based violence is not an abstract concept in South Africa. It is a lived reality, a daily terror. Nosicelo's murder forced the country to confront the statistics in a deeply personal way. South Africa has one of the highest rates of femicide in the world, a grim reality that activists have been highlighting for decades. Each statistic represents a woman like Nosicelo, a daughter, a sister, a student, a dreamer. Her death underscored the urgency of the crisis, proving that no one, regardless of their education or ambition, is safe. The outrage quickly spilled onto the streets. Protests erupted in various parts of the country, with demonstrators demanding justice for Nosicelo and systemic change to end the scourge of gender-based violence. Women's rights organizations, student bodies, and ordinary citizens united in a powerful display of solidarity. They carried placards with her face, chanting slogans that called for an end to impunity for perpetrators and for a government that takes the safety of women seriously. Nosicelo's story galvanized a movement, turning private grief into a public demand for accountability and a radical transformation of the patriarchal structures that enable such violence to thrive. Nosicelo Mtebeni's name has become a powerful symbol in the ongoing fight against gender-based violence in South Africa. Her story is no longer just her own. It has been woven into the fabric of a national movement for change. When people speak her name, they are not only mourning her death, but also invoking her spirit as a catalyst for action. She has become an emblem of the countless women whose lives have been stolen by femicide, her memory serving as a constant and painful reminder of the work that still needs to be done. Her tragedy has been transformed into a political statement, a demand that society must do better to protect its daughters. The calls for change that followed her murder were loud and clear. Activists and organizations leveraged the national attention on her case to push for concrete policy changes and greater accountability from the justice system. The conversation centered on strengthening laws, ensuring better support for victims, and most importantly, addressing the root causes of violence. This includes tackling toxic masculinity, challenging harmful social norms, and educating young men and boys about respect and consent. Nosicelo's story highlighted the need for a multifaceted approach. one that goes beyond punishment and focuses on prevention and the creation of a safer society for all. In the wake of her death, there has been a renewed emphasis on creating safe spaces for women and providing accessible support for those in abusive situations. Shelters, counseling services, and advocacy groups have reported increased engagement, as her story encouraged more people to seek help or get involved. The hope is that this heightened awareness translates into lasting change, creating a culture where survivors are believed and supported and where perpetrators are held accountable. The memory of Nosicelo fuels the determination of those working on the front lines, a constant reminder of what is at stake in this fight for human dignity and life. Though her story is born of immense tragedy, it ends with a message of hope and resilience. The echo of Nosicelo Mtebeni's name continues to inspire a generation of activists to fight for a future where no woman has to live in fear. Her legacy is not one of victimhood, but of the powerful resistance that her memory has ignited. It is a call to action for every individual to stand up against injustice, to support survivors, and to work tirelessly towards a South Africa where every woman is safe, valued, and free to pursue her dreams without threat. Her light was extinguished, but the movement she inspired continues to burn brightly.